Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Noor Networks. In this tutorial we will see how to configure web control policy and apply that policy over the computers on which you have installed Sophos Endpoint agent. Before we proceed with the configuration, let me give you a brief about the web control policy. If you remember, in our Sophos XG Firewall series, we have configured web control policy. So over there we have seen that Sophos XG Firewall can perform filtering for URLs and file types at the network gateway. Similarly, Sophos Enterprise Console allows you to extend some of the same capability to endpoints via Sophos Endpoint Security and Control. Let's begin with the configuration. As usual, what we have done for configuring the policies, over here also we will be going to the endpoint protection from the left pane over here, and then we will select policies. We will click on policies. Over here, similar to the other policies, you can see a template with the base policy for the web control. We will be creating our own policy and we will assign users to this particular web control policy. Click on add policy over here and then select the feature web control. It's a very interesting thing over here to see that when you were configuring a peripheral control, or you can say when you were configuring a threat protection policy, it allows you to configure it. It allows you to choose whether you want to configure this particular policy or user based or a device based. But when it comes to web control, it enforces you that you will be configuring the policy user based policy only. It won't allow you to configure device based, and it is saying that for device based it is not available since web control is user based only. So moving on, click on continue over here and it will open a template for you where you will be setting up the parameter as per your requirement. The very first thing, you will give the policy name as per your convenience. I will give web control lab policy. Since the policy is enforced, the Sophos Central enforce you to configure the policy user base only. From here, I will be choosing the user for which I need to assign the policy. I'm interested in assigning the policy to IT admin user, and for this one particular user, I will just drag it over here under assigned users. Moving on, I will go to the setting to configure the policy parameters. Very first thing it is on, which is web control, and it is saying that it enforces the setting in the section of the policy. Keeping this option as default, we will move on and we will be configuring the web control policy as per our requirement. Over here under web control, Sophos Central allows you to allow or block several categories. Then you will see that these categories are then again divided into subcategories. Very first option which the Sophos Central and the web control policy give you is additional security option, and it is saying that it prevents users downloading potential risk types of files. As the name says, definitely this option will allow you to block or allow the downloads. You will turn on this and then you will see block risky download. By default, it is saying that it will block the risky download. Let's see the details over here. And you will see that by default it is saying that the advertisement is allowed and categorized is allowed, risk file type is again recommended. What we will do, we will be customizing the policy as per our requirement. Over here you will see the options like block the risky download, which means the Sophos Central itself will decide that this is the risky download and it will block. Or else you can define the policy, you can customize the policy as per your network requirement, as per your company requirement. So in that case, if you want to customize, you will select on let me specify. Click on let me specify and you will see that whether the advertisement you want to allow or block on your network. I'm interested that the advertisement download should be blocked. Moving on, uncategorized. Guys, whenever a website is created, the administrator of the website categorizes it as a business website, social networking website, or you can say the travel website, and so on. So over here it says that if the website is uncategorized, what action you want to take. You have three options over here. It is saying that whether you want to allow the uncategorized website on your network, or you want to block the uncategorized website, or you want to warn. Warn is like whenever a user is trying to access a particular website which is uncategorized, it will prompt a user as a warning page saying that the administrator or the network administrator has configured a policy saying that the uncategorized website should be warned. We will be seeing that page as well when we will be, we will be checking the policies. Whatever we have configured, we will justify. So for me, I will say that I will clip this as a warn. The uncategorized website, whenever the user try to browse, he or she should get a warning page. Then comes the risk file types. It is saying recommended. Let's click on view more. And as per the recommendation from the Sophos Central, it is blocking ActiveX, Adobe Flash, it's allowed, Adobe PDF is allowed, and so on. But let's say, for example, you have a requirement like you want to allow or block as per your requirement, you don't want to follow this recommended practice. In that case, you have an option to allow, warn, block. Recommended is the one which is selected. You will say, let me specify. Because if you say allow, everything will be allowed. If you say warn, everything will be warned under this section. But if you want to customize, you will say, let me specify. Now over here, I'm interested that ActiveX control should be blocked. Adobe Flash Video, Adobe PDF should be allowed. Just all thing I want to block, but at the same time, I want to block the executable files as well. So I will say block. The installer files I want to skip as allow, or you can say warn as per your requirement. Really, I want to block. So I have customized this policy as per my requirement. So over here in what we have done, we have defined a policy for the categorized website that falls under downloads. Moving on, then comes the acceptable web usage, and it is saying that it prevents this particular option. When you turn on over here, it will definitely give you a certain categorized websites, and it is saying that basically turning on this option will help you to prevent users accessing adult and other potentially inappropriate websites. Just turn on this acceptable web usage, and it is saying that keep it clean, and you will see under that productivity related categories, social networking, adult and potentially inappropriate categories, and so on. When you say keep it clean, it will follow its own recommended practice. But let's say, for example, again you want to customize, you will say let me specify. And over here, productivity related categories, if you will see the subcategories under this, you will find art, entertainment, and so on are the things which are allowed. I don't want to allow the gambling and games. Rest all I want to allow. So again, I will say let me specify, and I will just say that the gambling should be blocked, the games should be blocked, the rest all the kids sites and all should be allowed. Social networking I want to block, I will straight away say block. Let's see what are the subcategories. Blogs and forums, chat, personal dating, photo searches, everything is blocked because the main action I have kept as block. Idle content I want to block. Categories likely to cause excessive bandwidth usage. Let's see what are the subcategories. Peer-to-peer, ringtone, streaming media. Let's say I want to block all this. I will simply say block. Business relevant site categories. What are the subcategories? It's business, computing and internet, government, and so on. So let's say, for example, over here I want to allow all this business relevant site categories. So I will simply say allow. Moving on, protect against data loss. Just turn on this and let's see what are the categories falling under this. It's saying the downloads and web-based email. I want to allow the downloads as well as web-based email, so I will keep that allow data sharing as the default option, and it by default takes the download and web-based email as allowed. Then comes the log web control events. As the name specify, just turn on this and you will see that it is saying that all attempts to visit the blog sites along with the warning and proceeding through the warnings will be logged and visible in the report. In short, like whatever configuration you have done above over here, all the website which you have blocked or warned, the user try to access that particular block website, or the user try to attempt the open the warn website, that particular logs will be generated if you turn on this option. Then comes the control site tagged in website management. We will just turn on this, and when we talk about the tag management, what we are going to do is this is basically option which is used, like let's say for example you have said that you want to block the social networking website, but if some requirement comes, like in future you want to allow a specific website, so you have to create a tag for that and you will set an action for that tag. In the same tutorial coming on, we will be creating a tags and we will see how the action works. For now we will leave it as it is for time being. The last option is apply this web control policy at set times only. If you want to enable the scheduler, you will just turn on this feature and you will be adding the scheduler saying that from this time to this time this policy should work and then this policy should be turned off. But for me, I want this policy should be enabled all the time, so I will keep this feature off. And finally, going to the last tab, that is policy enforced. Policies enforced in the last option, which is automatically disable policy at a specific time. You will turn on this to turn on this option, but I don't want to disable this policy at a time. I will keep it off. There is a default setting, and I will save the policy. So let's test this policy now. Before doing that, what we are going to do is we have applied this policy to two of the users. So going to the computer over here, not on the computer, let's say we have applied the policy for the users, right? So I will go to people over here and I have applied this policy for these two users, right? So I will open this particular user and then moving on, I will just click on action over here and I will say update now. Basically over here also you are doing the same thing. You're not updating a user but a computer itself. So you can do either of the way from there, or even from here you can update what we have been doing this from the start of the policy where we have configured threat management or peripheral control. So I will simply say update this computer and update this computer as well. So doing this will push the policy to the computers. Now we will be justifying the policy. So what we are going to do is, if you remember in the policy, we have configured that social networking site should be blocked. Let me show you again. Going to the web control policy, which we have configured, we have justified over here that the social networking site should be blocked. We will go to the workstation over here and we will be doing like we will be calling one of the social media website, social networking website, and we will see whether it is allowed or it is blocked. If it is blocked, which means the policy is working for us. So moving to one of the computer, what I'm going to do is I will be trying to call the social networking site, that is facebook.com, and it is giving you that your organization forbids access to website in the category blogs and forums. This particular website is falling in the category blogs and forum, and we will just justify this when you talk about this over here and so open the social networking subcategories. The blog and forum is block. In short, over here only we have defined the social networking should be blocked. So it has taken like blog and forum, chat and everything to be blocked, and blocking of this Facebook on this particular computer where we have applied the policy justify that a policy is being configured successfully and it is working as per our requirement. So this is how guys you will be configuring a web control policy. Moving on, let's say for example you have a requirement, like let's say although the social networking platform should be entirely blocked, but a certain website, let's say for example a Facebook, which is the which is falling under a category called social networking, that particular website you need to allow, rest all should be blocked. So what you are going to do is over here, not in the policy section, in the settings section over here, you will go over here and then what you are going to do is you will say website manager. You will go in website management. Going to website management, you will add over here a website www.facebook.com. If you know the category, what you are going to do is you will define a category, but if you don't know the category, you will leave this option as blank, and the Sophos Central will consider this particular website to be falling under uncategorized website. And what action you have taken for uncategorized website will taken. So like let's say for example you in our case we have defined that uncategorized website. If the user is trying to browse an uncategorized website, the action should be won. So for this particular website, the action won will be shown. But you know the category that this forms under blogs and forums. You will say blogs and forums tag. Let's say for example you say the tag to be allowed, and you will simply save it. So guys, just add a note over here that this is a tag, not an action. So for this particular tag, what you need to do is you will be adding an action for this particular tag. So I will show you that how you will be adding the action for this particular tag. You will be going to the policies over here, and if you remember, like we have seen an option for website tag management. So going to the policy, web control lab policy over here, you will be going to the setting, and under setting option over here, you will just scroll down and you will go to control site tagged in website management, and over here you will be defining the action, the tag which you have configured recently. Recently we have configured a allowed tag. If you remember, for www.facebook.com, you will say the action we allow for this particular tag and you will save it. Basically what we have done over here, we have done two things. The first thing, we have defined a website facebook.com in website management and added a tag as allowed. So that for the particular tag allowed, the tag can be anything. You can give your name, and then action for this tag should be allow. Finally you will save the policy, and as usual you will be updating your computer so that the policy is being reflected. Just simply you will update this computer number 1, and the computer number 2 also you will be updating. So once it is updated, now what we are going to do is we will again move to the computer where we have installed the Sophos endpoint agent, and we will see that now the facebook.com which we have blocked using the web control policy, now it should start to work since we have allowed that, keeping all other social networking sites to be blocked. Let's move to one of the computer and we will just type facebook.com, and you will see that now the facebook.com which was blocked due to social networking site is being allowed now, since we have uh, allowed this particular website particular URL into our Sophos Central website management. The second thing what we are going to do is now we will be taking exactly the vice versa of this requirement. uh, Over here we have seen that the social networking was blocked and one of the website from that particular category we have allowed. Now one more thing what we have done is we have allowed the web-based emails in this particular policy. Go to setting over here and you will see that we have allowed the web-based emails. This under protect against data loss, web-based emails are allowed. Let's say for example in future I come across a requirement that I want to allow all the web-based email, but at the same time I want to block yahoo.com on my network. The procedure is similar. What I'm going to do is, sorry guys, I have clicked by mistake over here. The procedure is same. You will go to setting over here and then you will go to website management under this page. Going to website management, uh, my requirement was I need to allow facebook.com. I have allowed this particular site. Now I will be adding the URL for www.yahoo.com, and the category, if you remember, it is web-based email. The tag, I will be adding a new tag. Let's say for example I will say restrict. You can use any tag whatever you want. I will say restrict, and I will save it. If the comment is there, if you want to add a comment, you can, or it's optional. I will say restrict and I will save it. Now, as I said you earlier that this is a tag, definitely you need to add an action for this tag. That restrict is a tag. What is the action you want? Since I want this particular site to be blocked, and I have considered that the restrict will be a tag which I will be using for blocking the site. Again, moving on to the policy, what I'm going to do is I will be adding an action for this tag as well in the policy. So going to the web control policy, then under the setting tab over here, you will be defining one more tag over here, add new, and you will see the restrict tag. Since you have already added an action for the allowed, it is not reflecting under this drop down menu. You will say for the restrict tab, the action should be blocked, and you will save it, and finally you will save the policy. Now we will see that although the web-based emails are being allowed in the policy, but we have configured a website management where we have defined that the yahoo.com should be blocked. So we will justify this by checking it on the computer where we have installed the Sophos Endpoint agent and where we have applied this policy. Before that, simply we will update the computers. Let's go to computers over here and click on update. We have updated computer number 1, and similarly you will update the computer number 2 as well. So now we have updated both the computers, and we will move on to the computer on which we have installed the policy to check that whether the Yahoo website is blocked or not. So I will be typing the yahoo.com over here, and we will see what is action. It is saying the website is blocked and your organization policy prohibit access to this website. Just mark a difference that when the website was blocked due to the policy, at that time it was saying that the website is blocked due to so and so category, but over here the website is being blocked through a website management. Like you have allowed all the categories, but certain website you have blocked, so it is saying that it is a website which is blocked. Additionally, when you are using a Sophos XG firewall and at the same time a Sophos Central, there is a high possibility you might get the website will be blocked either due to the firewall or maybe due to the Sophos Central. So to differentiate, you will see that a Sophos XG firewall is pop up when a policy is blocked by the Sophos firewall, and this kind of page will be pop up when it is blocked by the Sophos Central. So guys, this is how your web control policy works in the Sophos Central. That's all about the web control policy. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, please subscribe now and do share with your friends. Thanks for watching and see you in the next tutorial.